whoa. No one wants this. Come on, Mike. Maybe there are people out there that want Hugo to have his own spin-off series. Well, I don't. Roll the episode. Hugo's homeboys, where you at? A long time ago, Thomas's branch line was known as the Tidmouth, Knapford, and Elsbridge Light Railway. This is where Topham Hatt, the man who would become the first Fat Controller, got his start as chief mechanical engineer. He built several vertical boiler engines to run the line, and while they worked hard, they had many mechanical faults. When under strain, their boilers would spew dirty brown water. Which is why the railwaymen called them coffee pots. These engines also had weak brakes, which prevented them from taking loads that were too heavy. Over time, all the coffee pot engines were taken out of service, except for one, Glyn. One day, Mr. Hatt came to see Glyn with important news.
Glyn, I need you to take stone from the quarry down to Tidmouth Harbour. I know it's a lot to pull, but the ship must depart this evening. Can I trust you to get everything delivered on time?
Of course, sir. I won't let you down.
Oh dear, I hope he can manage.
Glyn set right to work, eagerly arranging his trucks into line.
Easy, old boy. Any more trucks and this train might be more than your brakes can handle.
Fair point. We best be careful.
Glyn was keen to please Mr. Hatt, but he knew his driver was right. Glyn hauled his 4 truck trains to the harbor and back all afternoon. But as the hours crept by, there was still a lot of stone left to deliver.
Oh dear, we're getting really close. Driver, can we take more than 4 trucks on this run? We won't be able to get all the stone to the harbour at the rate we're going, and I don't want to let Mr. Hart down.
Sorry, Glyn, but your brakes aren't strong enough. If we take more trucks, you might not be able to stop if something's in the way.
But if all the stone isn't on that ship, Mr. Hart might take me out of service. Just like the other coffee pots.
All right, then. We'll take on more trucks, but we need to be careful.
Of course. Oh, thank you, sir.
At first, Glyn had the heavy train under control. But he'd reckoned without the hill.
Come on! Come on! Come on!
His driver knew Glyn was having a tough time of it.
Come on, Glyn. Once we reach the top, it's all downhill from there.
Oh, yuck! Glyn!
When they did, they spotted a sign that said, "All trains stop to pin down brakes." However, when Glyn tried to stop, he couldn't.
Oh, no! No! Somebody help me! I can't stop!
Up ahead, Glyn could see the station coming into view. He whistled an alarm. Luckily, the station master heard Glyn and quickly switched the points, sending him into the runaway siding.
Oh! Phew!
It was lucky that Glyn didn't come off the rails, but his driver knew they could go no further.
This doesn't look good, old boy. We better call for help.
Later, another engine arrived to pick up Glyn's trucks. Mr. Hat assessed the damage. Glyn had never seen him look so unhappy.
No. This won't do. This won't do at all.
What won't do? What's wrong with me?
Well, Glyn, you've damaged your brakes and your pipes look beyond repair. What on earth were you thinking? You must have known that was too many trucks.
I'm sorry, sir. I just wanted to make sure all the stone got to the ship on time. I was afraid if I didn't, you would take me out of service and I'd never get to work again.
Glyn, I'm afraid that we have to leave you here on this siding for the time being. We just don't have the money to repair you.
But, sir, I can still work. I'll be really useful, I promise.
I wish that was true, but it's simply not the case. You'll stay here until we can find something to do with you.
And with that, Mr. Hat left, leaving Glyn all alone on the siding. He wasn't sure if he'd ever get to work again, but only time could tell.
Hey, easy there, Tiger. You don't need to patronize us. Anyone that still cares about Thomas and Friends in 2020 knows who the characters are. Next up is The Weight of the World, which did really well for some reason.
The engines on the Mid-Sodor Railway worked happily together for many years. But then hard times came. There were less trains, and businesses were winding down. One day, the foreman spoke to Atlas.
The mines are closing. I'm afraid we'll have to liquidate our assets.
Oh dear, that sounds painful.
Well, it is, just not the way you're imagining it.
What's going to happen?
We'll have to sell what we can to make ends meet, and abandon the rest. We just sold all of you and Alfred's remaining coal to the village. They need it more than we do right now.
Oh no, it's a dreadful shame. First Alfred, then the mine. Could I take the coal to the village?
Atlas, you're in no condition to work. You haven't had any proper maintenance for quite some time.
I have another run in me. Please. I'd like to be really useful one last time. For Alfred and for everyone. And so it was arranged. Atlas's driver and fireman returned. They lit his fire, and their final journey began. Though it wouldn't be an easy one, Atlas felt like he had the weight of the world on his buffers, especially when he went downhill. Steady, steady.
You don't sound well, Atlas.
I don't feel well either. Ugh. But that can't be helped. But when Atlas felt that he could truly go no further, he found that it could. Are those fireflies at this time of day?
Atlas, What are you talking about? There's nothing there.
I think he's starting to lose it.
Atlas didn't mind that his driver couldn't see what he could. He decided to give it another try.
Come on, let's show this hill what we're made of. The lights are shining green for us. Green for glory.
Ugh, how trite.
Nevertheless, the strange fireflies gave Atlas the courage to continue. With each wheel turn, he managed to get to the nearest cluster, and then the next, and the next, and the next. It was a slow and difficult journey, but at last, Atlas reached the station. He was greeted by a crowd of grateful villagers.
Thank you, Atlas.
Glad to be of service.
His driver was very proud.
While I do think your dome has cracked, you are, without a doubt, a really useful engine.
Thank you. I'm glad we could have one more run together.
It was hard to bid farewell to all the good times and the bad, but Atlas was pleased to have gone out on a high note. Before he was broken up, some of the villagers came to visit him.
If we had known that taking the train would have damaged you, we would have gone without our coal.
It's no bother. You might say that helping others has always been my Achilles wheel.
We're going to be very sad to see our little engines go. If you'd allow it, we'd love to honor you in some way.
Oh yes, an excellent idea. Perhaps a mural, a tapestry, a statue.
Oh, I wouldn't waste your time with something like that. It's what you do that leaves a lasting impression in this world. Plus, it seems in poor taste.
Heartbreaking, isn't it?
I agree. I'll miss those little engines.
They brought light to our lives.
They certainly did.
I hope they're happy, wherever they are now.
It's hard to say. There's nowhere they'd rather be than here.
Where am I? It seems the end has no end.
We hope you enjoyed the first 2 stories. Before we watch the next episode, it's time for a few words from our sponsor.
Hey guys.
Oh dear, Mr. Stewart! Oh, the timing couldn't have been worse. Roll the episode.
James had been rude and said that Edward clanked about like a lot of old iron. He was most apologetic when Edward came to his rescue. After that, the Fat Controller sent Edward to the works to have his worn parts mended. Near the workstation, he noticed a narrow-gauge engine standing in an open-sided shed.
That's Skarloey. What's he doing here?
He remembered Skarloey and his brother Reneus, because in the old days, he had often brought passengers who wanted to travel up to the lake in their little train. As the men at the works could not mend him at once, Edward asked them if he could wait close to Skarloey. Skarloey was pleased to see Edward.
The owner has just bought 2 more engines. He told me I was a very old engine and deserved a good rest. He gave me this shed so that I could see everything and not be lonely. But I am lonely all the same. I miss Reneus very much. Yesterday, one of the new engines pushed him on a truck, and now he's gone to be mended. I wish I could be mended too, and pull coaches again.
Edward wanted to cheer Skarloey up, and he knew just where to start.
Have your coaches got names?
Oh yes. Agnes, Ruth, Jemima, Lucy, and Beatrice. Agnes is proud. She has cushions for first-class passengers. She pities Ruth, Jemima, and Lucy, who are third class with bare boards, and all 4 sniff at Beatrice. Beatrice often smells of fish and cheese, but she is the most important. She has a little window through which the guard sells tickets. I sometimes leave the others behind, but I always take Beatrice. You must have tickets and a guard, you know.
Oh, of course.
Reneus and I used to take turns pulling trains. We know everybody, and everybody knows us. We whistle to the people in the field, at level crossings, and in lonely cottages and farms, and the people always wave to us. We love passing the school playgrounds at break time, for then the children will always run over to the fence and watch us go by. The passengers always wave, because they think the children are waving to them. But we engines know better, of course.
We do indeed.
We take your tourists to the lake and then get ready to pull the train back. We enjoy the morning journey home because then our friends from the villages come down to do their shopping. We whistle before every station. Beep beep, look out! And the people are there ready.
Wait a minute, where's Mrs. Last?
Don't worry, I'm sure she's right on her way. Beep beep, we whistle and Mrs. Last comes running to the platform.
We'll leave you behind one of these days, Mrs.
But we know we never will. We stop elsewhere too, at farm crossings and stiles, where paths lead to lonely houses. Reneus and I know all the places very well, and our drivers used to say that we would stop even if he didn't put on the brakes.
He should, though.
He should what?
He should always put on the brakes. Assuming you'd stop on your own accord sounds like a recipe for disaster.
Yes, obviously. Imagine if he hadn't, and I'd run away all on my own.
Yes, obviously.
Anyway. Sometimes on market day, Ruth, Jemima and Lucy were so full of people that the guard would allow third-class passengers to travel in Agnes. She didn't like that at all.
First-class coach? Third-class people? How humiliating!
That made me cross. Shut up, or I'll bump you! That stopped her rudeness to my friends.
Just then, some workmen came.
We're going to mend you now, Edward. Come along.
Goodbye, Skarloey. Thank you for telling me about your railway. It's a lovely little line.
It is. Thank you for talking to me, Edward. You've cheered me up. Goodbye.
Skarloey watched Edward being taken back into the works. Then, shutting his eyes, he dozed in the warm afternoon sun. He smiled as he dozed, for he was dreaming, as old engines will, of happy days in the past.
Excuse me, do you know how Edward is doing?
I do. He's doing quite well, considering the state he was in before he got here.
That's good to hear. What was wrong?
His parts were pretty worn, and rescuing James when he ran away was the icing on the cake.
Goodness, and even after all that, he still pulled through?
He sure did. Remarkable, isn't it?
Just like how Rheneas saved our railway.
Rotten, sassy, brassy, cow cars, coaches, pushing. Ow. Oh, that's gonna be sore in the morning.
No more work for you today. Bother those coaches. We must take the village people home and fetch the tourists, all without an engine.
Hi, I'm Arthur, and I'm socially awkward. Hey, why did my cue card say that? I thought I was gonna tell a joke.
You're the joke. Mike!
Please play the episode. I'm embarrassed.
The engines didn't like visiting the scrapyard. More often than not, it was a grim reminder of the past. Sometimes, Thomas would see the rusting remains of engines that looked just like him. The Fat Controller tried to ease his worries.
Thomas, it's not what you are, but who you are that makes you a really useful engine. You must know I would never sell you for scrap.
Thank you, sir. But what about the others? How many other tank engines worked on Sodor, and why were so many of them scrapped?
I'm afraid I don't know what to say, Thomas. The island was a lot different back then. There were many engines that you may have never even heard of. But while many have been lost, there may still be some waiting to be found.
I hope so. And I hope I'm the one that finds them.
It wouldn't surprise me if you did.
After that, Thomas felt much better. But to his surprise, the next time he went to the scrapyard, the scrapped engine was nowhere to be seen.
Where did it go?
I'm sorry, Thomas, but the old slab was just taking up space. The scrappers probably decided to melt it down.
Oh. It's a shame. But I suppose it's for the best.
What Thomas didn't know was that the Fat Controller had sold the scrapped lot to a preservation society that had recently received a considerable endowment from a generous benefactor. While the benefactor didn't have the knowledge to restore the engine himself, he had many friends that did. And soon enough, a makeshift workshop was constructed next to his own home. Everyone set right to work. But sometimes, Thomas would still worry about the engines from years past.
At first, it was just the idea that engines I never knew were scrapped that frightened me. Now, the thought of something being too far gone to ever be saved frightens me even more.
What about when we helped old Slow Coach?
And Victoria, too.
Yes! Everyone thought they were too far gone, but with your help, they became really useful again.
You think so?
We know so. Nothing is too far gone, Thomas.
Thank you, Toby. Do you think that scrapped engine has a chance too?
There's no doubt in my mind.
Mine either. Neither. Sorry, I always get those confused.
While I admit it's been difficult, giving this little engine a second chance at life has made it all worth it.
That's a commendable outlook.
And it comes from experience. Years ago, I invested in something truly remarkable. The most brilliant railway minds coming together to preserve some intriguing designs and even improve upon them. But something went wrong, and the whole thing fell apart. I don't blame myself for that project's failure, but the disappointment did take a toll on me. It was only when I realized that I had learned so much from that experience that I had the courage to continue.
I'm glad you did. I wish you the best of luck with the rest of the restoration.
Same to you. Enjoy your travels.
We're just about ready to scrape some of this rust off, boss.
Oh, excellent. Let me treat you boys to some lunch. You've earned it.
Much obliged. Hey, who's that over there?
Oh, this is my son, Tucker. He's been too shy to say hello, but he's been very interested in the work that's being done.
Well, hello there, young man.
You can stop by and see what we're up to anytime.
Thank you.
You see that, Tucker? We're all friends here. Would you like to have lunch with us too?
No, thank you.
Suit yourself. We'll see you in a couple of hours.
Next up is my first leading role in Enterprising Engines. Our first leading role in Enterprising Engines? Oh yeah, right. Usually we're just comic relief. Or padding. Yeah, I hate padding. Imagine a subpar fan series stooping to recycling content and adding lame banter to fill time. Let's move on. The little engines on the Arlesdale Railway have big personalities.
Morning, Sigrid.
My name is not Sigrid, Jock. It's Sigrid of Arlesdale. So please, say the full name for the full effect.
Oh, sorry. Good morning, Sigrid of Arlesdale.
Now that's better. Sigrid of Arlesdale. You know, there's a story behind that name, right? Come on, haven't you heard of Sigrid of Arlesdale? You know, the famous heroine who repelled that dreadful Norman invasion during the 11th century? Oh, it was amazing. You had to be there.
I don't see how we could have.
This is why I only say hello when I'm moving in the other direction.
But it can be argued that Mike and Frank are the most dynamic.
Whoa, Frank, back up! You're in my way. What? How am I in your way, Mike? We're nowhere near each other. Oh, I'm aware. But if I'm being perfectly honest, your aura alone disgusts me.
Let's chatter, you two.
You both know Miss Jenny's construction team needs this ballast for their next assignment.
Yes, sir. Ugh, fine. But let it be known that if I have to work with Frank, then everything I do will be done reluctantly. Meanwhile, Isabella was on her way to the worksite with some important supplies, but she was heading for trouble.
Oh no, not again. Come on. Come on.
Oh no!
Oh, my. I didn't even notice that fallen tree was there. I guess you didn't either. Oh no, my pain. Bert, this is not funny. Bert.
Mike and Frank were about to leave the gravel pits with their train when the foreman flagged them down.
Stop! Wait! A tree has fallen on the line, Bert is derailed, and Isabella broke down over the crossing.
A little excessive, don't you think? It certainly gets the point across.
Butch is busy and won't be able to clear the mess until morning. You'll have to stay here for the night.
Ooh! A sleepover! And a nice cozy shed, too. I usually have to sleep outside. That's because the last time we let you into the shed, you broke it. That's not fair, Mike. I've stayed in the sheds plenty of times since, and there were no damages to speak of. Yes. But did you account for the emotional damage and trauma that everyone sustains in your presence? It's bad enough I have to listen to you all day. Sleep was my only escape. Gah! Fine, then I just won't say anything. Good.
And he didn't, for quite some time, until...
Oh, I have an idea. Is it a stupid idea? No. Yes? Forgive me, sometimes I ask questions I already know the answer to. Come on, Mike, let me finish. What if, to pass the time, we each took turns telling a story?
All right. I guess that's not as terrible an idea as I initially predicted. You started off.
Oh, goody! Francine was young and full of moxie, trying to make it as an actress in the big city. Frank, this is stupid. How is it stupid? I haven't even gotten to the first sentence. Frank, you only need syllables to say something stupid. Here's how a real story should go.
First, there was nothing. Then there was...
Strength, justice, favorable chin definition. These are just a few of the character traits of Scarlet Fire. Hero, vigilante, and international engine of mystery. This is a load of self-indulgent tripe. Ha! You're just upset that the story is actually good now. Not surprisingly, Francine blew it in the audition. So it was up to Scarlet Fire's searing sense of justice to save the world from dinosaur attacks, global warming, and a myriad of villains from various licensed properties. Mike, come on, this is complete nonsense. What? I thought nonsense was completely excusable within the confines of fantasy. But you're missing the point of it all. We're supposed to take turns and tell a story together.
All right. Take your turn and try to make it not terrible.
Fine. I will. Luckily, Francine didn't give up on her dreams, and she decided to help Scarlet Fire fight all those dinosaurs, climate change, and, Michael Keaton by using the success of her acting career to influence broad social change. That is, until her career tanked again. What? Yep, she was a complete failure, so she became Scarlet Fire's stunt double in his biographical film series. A stunt double? That's right, a stunt double. Her underwhelming attempts at substance were completely outmatched by her ability to get smashed up and tossed about in various bodies of water. Oh, I think I'm starting to get it now. So Francine is just Scarlet Fire's punching bag. Whatever pays the bills, I guess. Frank had finally had enough. Well, Mike, based on the direction our story took, it's clear you don't care for me very much at all. Ha! That's the first thing you've gotten right all night. And if that's really how you feel, then I won't bother speaking to you anymore. Music to my ears. Frank? The silence that followed was the longest silence that Mike and Frank had ever shared. As much as Mike loved to pick on Frank, something didn't feel right. Frank? That wasn't the end of the story. It wasn't? No. You see, Scarlet Fire felt kind of bad about all the stuff he put Francine through, so he wrote Francine a letter of apology. The end. He apologized? Yeah, he did. Well, what did his letter say? The letter said, Dear Francine, I'm sorry you were offended by what I said. Mike! Okay. I'm sorry I was so rude to you. Especially when you were just trying to have fun being an actress in the big city. Sure, I think it's a lot more fun to just make fun of you, but I want you to know that I enjoy spending time with you too. In some ways, I even consider you my friend. What was that, Mike? Sorry, that was my impression of a dinosaur choking on a dry erase marker. In some ways, I even consider you an engine of which I share mutual interest and a sense of camaraderie. That's good enough for me. P.S. I still hate you. Oh. And after Francine accepted Scarlet Fire's eloquent and brilliantly crafted apology, they wiped out the dinosaurs while preserving their DNA to help scientists understand important gaps in our natural history. Yeah, sure. Then they reversed the effects of climate change by placing a giant fan in the Arctic that was powered by internet outrage. Golly, I think we just solved the energy crisis. And thanks to Francine's social media advocacy, a bill that outlawed villainy was approved by the government, and all the villains from the various licensed properties were forced to seek different career paths.
I guess I should start an Etsy.
And they all lived happily ever after. I liked how that turned out. Me too. And so it was that the end of their story was the beginning of a firm friendship. At least until morning.
Rise and shine, you two. The line should be clear by now. You're good to start home again.
Phew. I'll say.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. All right, I'll tell them. Hey, sorry to get your hopes up. The line was just about sorted out until Butch turned over while he was lifting Bert. I'm afraid another tow truck won't be available until tomorrow.
Oh, hooray! Isn't this wonderful, Mike? We can tell stories again tonight. Ah!
be honest, I appreciate that you've given me this role because really you just gave me a good excuse to rewatch Tit and Tat because I can't remember what Bert's voice sounds like and I haven't done my Bert voice in like 3 years! Isn't that spectacular?
Yes! Isabella is back! Alright, I really hope I didn't just startle my parents. I mean, granted, they're downstairs, my room is like fairly soundproof, but whenever I make strange noises for video recording, I feel like they're gonna pop in my room and they're like, "Are you hurt? Are you okay?" I'm like, "Vin Diesel has Frank!" That's iconic.
Right about now is where I should say something witty or inspiring for the end credits, but I can't really think of anything, so wash your hands.
I thought nonsense was completely excusable within the confines of fantasy. I don't even think that's Mike or Frank. That's a new character.
How strange. It's almost as if it's trying to tell me something. Whoa!
Oliver, look! I just had a wash down after my repairs. Doesn't my paint look... Whoa. Where did that come from?
I don't know.
Thank you for watching. Our last video in the compilation will be a music video called Flaws, featuring an original song by Evelyn Cools. It's pretty good, and that's high praise coming from me, seeing as I hate everything. Well, except me, of course. Well, we're going to link Evelyn's social media pages in the description. She's a talented artist and writer that would appreciate your support. Ah yeah, let's rock!
Caught on the border of sin, never thought I'd be here again, clouded by the shadows of my mind, waiting for both sides to be aligned. In the enterprise of hopes and dreams, it's hard to find your way. Lay your body next to me, I swear we'll be okay. In the darkness you will shine and find your peace someday. Show your lights to me, show your flaws to me. Ooh, oh, ooh, oh. So the brightest star tonight, too far away to be mine. So I basked in the glow of the moon, knowing there was no one left to fool.